Hey guys, and welcome to week 2 of the 8-week Life Hack webinar series. We start to move into the crux and action-taking process that is needed to achieve what you want to achieve in from this 8-week series this week, and it's all about planning. So far, of course, we've done a few things, and we started off with the free webinar where I talked about values and so on and so forth. Now, last week we spoke about the purpose of the 8-week life hack, and that comes across in twofold. First being to create the you that never gives up. And then, of course, the second part is to assist you in achieving your dreams and those outrageous goals via the 6-pillar process. We also spoke last week about the structure and the picture that kind of sets out what the 8-week life hack is about. And I've got that on the screen right now. There's you, of course, in the middle with your values, which really is the center and the core of the entire program. There's health and growth as an overarching umbrella or an overarching goal amongst all of us. And then more specifically, you've got your 4 areas of life that come off of the values of yourself. And that's where we can get into the nitty gritty of the goals that you want to achieve. As I'd said, we've worked out a list of your core values by now, and that is a list that is an ongoing thing. You're going to refine that more and more over time. So if you still don't have all of them, feel free to re-watch those first few webinars, the first 2 webinars, and go over it again and practice and practice those activities that we've gone through and find those values of yours. And don't forget, you've got 3 months worth of emails contact with me, so flick me an email if you're having trouble with that, but I highly doubt you are by now. You're probably well on the road to working out who it is that you truly want to be. We did that 1 habit, 1 decision, 1 conversation piece, which I know a lot of you got plenty out of, being able to take advantage of those things and just seeing what you can achieve even within 1 day or a couple of days or a couple of weeks. Then last week we moved on to the big, bold, unrealistic dreams, making sure you reach right outside of your comfort zone with the things that you want to achieve. Normally by this point, a lot of people kind of come back and think, I haven't aimed high enough. My dreams aren't big enough. Relax, they are. Majority of the time, there's only 1 area of life, or maybe 2 areas of life, where you've got that massive dream that you're working on at the moment. So if you're looking at all the areas and you're thinking, oh, I haven't got a massive area in my refuel, as far as going on holidays, an overseas trip or something, that's fine. Maybe that's not what you're focusing on right now. Just have a look at that 1 area or that's 2 areas where you've got that huge, big, bold, unrealistic dream. And I'm sure they are big enough. If they're not, flick us an email. Let's sort that out. Then, of course, worked on the time-specific signposts, on my theory of the short-term goals being signposts and giving them some time to get done by. And we have worked on the importance and discussed the importance of daily habits. It is those daily habits that you have that will lead to the behaviors that will see you to become who you want to be. So we're moving into week 2 now, and as you can see from the 6 webinars and 6 topics, week 2 is all about planning. It's called Prepare, Plan, Succeed. And the main topics of discussion we'll be covering are visualization, planning, and the perfect day and the perfect week. Visualization will come across in 2 parts. Planning, pretty straightforward. It's just my theory of getting plans right and a really logical step-by-step way of getting things underway. And the perfect day and perfect week is something we'll discuss today as well. I qualify that by saying there is no such thing as perfection, but at least we can begin there so that we know what we're trying to achieve. The expected learning that you'll have this week will be the benefit of visualization, both physical visualization and mental visualization. We'll go through that in a moment. A more refined SMART, SMART goals. So obviously you've got those time-specific signposts already, but we really start to refine SMART goals and SMART signposts in this webinar. Realistic day planning. See, there you go. I've already changed that word from perfect to realistic just so we can get things done. And then self-accountability, daily checklists. What do I need to get done today? What are my morning routines? All that kind of thing. They come up in today's webinar. Just a reminder, today is about establishing and planning exactly what you need to achieve. And that's what you need to do and what you need to have and exactly what you need to achieve those goals that you've set. So first of all, we'll go through visualization, physically and tangibly visual, and then we'll go through mental or imagined visualization. Just before we dive straight into that, I want you to have a think about where exactly we are on this process of what Words with Oz is all about, or what the 8-week life hack is all about. And you'll remember that screen that says who, what, and how. Who you want to be, what that person wants, and then how they're going to get it. And I said it's a process that we go through. So we started off with this idea of who you want to be, values, your goals, so on and so forth, and slowly migrating towards the what. And now we're really getting heavily into the what. So you've already got this understanding of who you want to be from the free webinar. And then we went into the direction that you want to go with your goals from last week. And then this week, it's time to establish and plan exactly what that person needs to do to achieve. I hope that makes much clearer sense now. So we're slowly migrating through that who, what, how. The first thing we'll go through is visualization. As I said, we're going to go through something that's physically visualized and then mentally visualized. So the first activity is to create some goals or an action, result, and affirmation to one of the goals that you've already set. So there are two forms. Sorry, what I'll do is cover the different types of visualization first, and then we'll go into this activity. I skipped over it there quite quickly, but let me go through that in much more detail. There are two forms of visualization. The first is physically or tangibly visual. So that's this idea of, you may have heard of someone with a vision board, or someone who writes all their goals down, or someone perhaps writes an affirmation and keeps it in there on their bathroom mirror. That's something that I've advocated, and many of you may have heard that from me before. It's an idea of you see it and you're reminded of it regularly during the day. Whatever your mission or your vision or your goals are, if you can see them often during the day, then they suddenly become a larger part of your unconscious thought. The second form of visualization is this mental or imagined visualization. So creating memories or creating the neuro pathways in your mind by imagining how a process is going to go, or by imagining yourself in the future. So the authentic you activity that I've had you do on a previous occasion is an example of that. You know, you dive into the future and you imagine yourself acting the way you'll be acting at that point in the future. That creates a mental visualization and creates your neurological pathways a way to develop that and recognize that before you get there. It's the idea of your vibe attracts your tribe, that kind of thing. Now, I don't go heavily into that side of the law of attraction, but I do advocate this idea of a mental visualization so that you can visualize what you want and then know how you're going to go and get it. If you close your eyes and imagine a scenario where you are scared, maybe it's something you've been through, or maybe it's your worst nightmare, you'll notice that your body will start to raise its heart rate, and you'll notice that your body will start to get sweaty palms and all that kind of stuff. And it's the same process when you want to create memories that you want to have. So if you create a memory where you don't want something to happen, you can also create a memory or create a future memory for something that you do want to have. So there's this power in visualization of where you want to go and what you want to be and how you want to do it. And there's a power in picturing yourself performing the way that you want to perform. So they're the two different types of visualization, and we'll go into a couple of activities to expand on that now. The first is that I want you to write down one of your goals, or one of your ultimate goals, or maybe one of your short-term goals for each of the areas of your life. So we'll start off with refueling, and then relationship, and then fitness, and then vocation. And I want you to write down one of the goals that you've already set for yourself. And then I want you to come up with the action you're going to do to achieve it, or the result you're going to need to achieve it, or the affirmation that you'll tell yourself to achieve the goal. So an idea might be, let's say in the future you want to, I think I used this last time, but you want to run a marathon. Then the action, your goal you would write would be to, I want to run a marathon. And the action you would take is, I am going to run every single day. I am going to run 60 kilometers per week. I am going to run 5 kilometers this week. I'm going to run 20 kilometers in 4 weeks' time. I'm going to run 30 kilometers in 6 weeks' time. In 8 weeks' time, I'm going to run a marathon. All that kind of idea. There you go. There's some actions you can take. There's a result you can take. And it is there something visual that you will remind you what it is you're trying to achieve or you're going to achieve. Another side, and you may have heard of affirmations before, and I don't recommend standing there and saying the affirmation over and over and over to yourself and then suddenly going to do it. You have to combine the affirmation with the action taken, of course. But an idea with an affirmation might be, let's say you want to be the CEO of your company. Then the affirmation would be, I am living my most outstanding life. I am the CEO of the company that I work for. I am going to work in my suit and everyone looks at me with praise and love and admiration. I own my company. I am the boss of my company. That's what I'm going to do. That might be the affirmation that you write for yourself underneath the goal that you've set. So there's some pretty clear examples of what I'm talking about there. So there's a good way for you to create some of these physically visual aids to go and achieve what you want to achieve. For, in different areas of your life, whether or not it's this area, refueling, maybe you might write 2 goals for one area, but write the goal and then write down the action or the result or the affirmation that you're going to take. And when you write it down, I'm going to ask that you use the first person singular present tense. And what I mean by that is use words that signify that you already have or you're already on your result, action, and affirmation. So things like I will, I have, I own, I am. So that's your first person singular present tense. Once you complete these forms, put them places that you'll see them often. Put them in your wallet, put them in your handbag, put them on the bathroom mirror, put them on the shower wall, put them on the screensaver on your phone, put them on the backdrop, the wallpaper of your phone, somewhere where you're going to see them a lot. Fitness and career as well. Don't forget all 4 areas of your life. So the affirmation is a declaration that will support and encourage your actions. Something that means a lot to you to get you to pursue what you have said and have committed to pursuing. Another option for this idea of the physical visualization technique is to compile pictures and other visual triggers. Now I've got a little vision book that I use. It's one that I've had with me for many years now, and every time I find a picture or a vision or something that makes me think, if that's what I want to achieve, I cut it out of the magazine or I print it off or I create it and I stick it in this book. And I recommend that you do the same thing, even if it's screenshotting Instagram pictures or if it's saving videos you've seen on Facebook. Maybe you recently watched the royal wedding or our royal wedding. It's worthwhile maybe saving some photos from that kind of stuff if that's along the lines of your dream life or what you may be unrealistically expecting to achieve. The second activity I'm going to get you to do is more around this mental visualization. And I want you to have a look at trying to do these kind of things every single morning. What we're looking at here is as a way to forethink and live through the tasks that you'll set yourself every single day and get them more efficient and get them to go the way you want them to go. So consider your list of daily tasks that you've written for next week or that you've written for this week. And I want you to write down one task in each of the areas of your life. Now you should already have these. We've gone through goals and we've gone through setting your daily habits and your daily tasks, so this should not be hard to find. So let's think about in your fitness area. I want you to go and find one of the tasks that you've set. Maybe it's attending a class at 6:30 a.m. on Wednesday. I want you to write down a description of getting that task done. I get up at 5:30 a.m. I have a glass of water first thing on waking up. I get up, my gym clothes are already waiting for me. I leave the house still in the dark without waking anyone up. I drive to the gym. I'm at the gym by 6 o'clock. It's still dark. I get out. I go inside. I'm there early. I'm warming up. Maybe that's the task that you've set yourself for fitness this week. And then I want you to mentally perform that daily task. I want you to run through it in your brain. How's it going to go? How are you going to get it done? How did you perform at it? All that kind of thing. Another area may be, maybe you've set yourself a goal to get a new job. And so this week, your role or your task that you set yourself is to speak to your boss. Maybe you're going to ask for a raise, or maybe you're going to advise them, look, I need a new position. I need more. I need a new job. Then your task that you set yourself is to go and see them. I want you to run through that meeting in your head. How's it going to play out? How are you going to approach it? You know, how are you going to be confident? How's your posture going to be? What outcome do you want? What outcome is likely to happen? Is your boss someone that doesn't really take well to people telling them that kind of news? Well, then how are you going to handle that? And I want you to mentally prepare yourself going through that task. Visualize yourself sitting there in your boss's office. Or if it's the fitness one, visualize how cold it's going to be outside when you leave the house. But be prepared for it and know that that's okay. Visualize that when you first wake up and it's still dark, you are going to want to go back to sleep. But visualize getting up anyway. Visualize breaking through those barriers, because the more often you visualize yourself doing it and you're prepared for it, the better you'll perform at it when it's time to do the task. I'll go back to the sitting down with your office, with your boss in his office. And I want you to think about being there and what you see and what you feel and how they react. And then I want you to visualize the process from your mind's eye. Now, if you don't know what that means, it kind of means, imagine there's a camera up in the corner of the room watching over everything you do. It's a third person up in the sky. It's your mind's eye. I want you to see how the scenario plays out and how you want it to play out and whether it goes the way you want it to go. And I want you to process these tasks in your mind going the way you need them to, so that you can perform them the way you need them to happen. That is how the mental visualization works for you. It is a preparation of the task that you want to achieve and getting it right. It is teaching your body and the neurological pathways in your body to perform at their best, to get those tasks done. And the idea of getting all these daily tasks done is that we want to get them done in the most efficient way possible. Because if we get them done in the most efficient way possible, then we achieve more. And you've already set these outrageous goals. They're not going to get done if you're just going about your day the way you've always gone about them. If you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten. And we're going to change that. So I want you to visualize doing these things better, faster, smarter, more efficiently. That's what mental visualization is all about. You've got 4 areas of your life. Write down one task for each. Refueling. I'm going to meditate every day. Write down the task. Imagine yourself performing it. Relationships. I'm going to call my parents twice a week. Write down the task. Imagine yourself going through it. Fitness. As I said, I'm going to get up early 3 times a week. Maybe that's what it is. Write down the task. Visualize yourself doing it. Career. Write down the task and visualize yourself doing it. And I recommend that you spend at least 3 minutes per day visualizing each task. Do it first thing in the morning or last thing at night before the next day. And then I gave you those 2 options. Make sure you visualize it in first person. Make sure you visualize it from your mind's eye. And if you come up with the same resistances or the same challenges on picturing how you're doing that task, then think about how you're going to A, overcome them, and B, why they happen. And then make sure you visualize the feeling that getting the result that you want gives you. To begin with, I get most clients on this program to do these visualizations as much as they can every day until you get to that point where you feel comfortable with the process. Because once you feel comfortable with it, then you can do it pretty quickly during the day. And what I mean by that is you can actually do it, in your car driving to a meeting. You can just do it in the car. It takes a few minutes, and you just do the process there and then. So do it as much as you can for now, and then in the future, it'll be easy for you to do it when you need to. While we're staying on track with this idea of the mental visualization, I want you to go through your perfect day. So it's kind of a hybrid of the authentic you / what would your perfect day look like? And I want you to visualize a perfect day. What time do you wake up and how do you feel when you get up? What do you do first thing? What do you have for breakfast? How healthy is it? Who's there with you? What are your morning routines? What time do you get up and go to work? Do you go to work? Do you work from home? All that kind of stuff. Visualize your perfect day. How many phone calls do you make? How many sales do you make? What are the results? How well do you perform? All that kind of thing. Keep working through it until the end of your day. You come home, dinner's on the table, or perhaps you have to make dinner. How do you feel? Do you have a nice glass of wine? What's the feeling like in the house? Is there an intensity, or is there a loving feeling? So on and so forth. Picture your perfect day. Where is it? What are you wearing? What do you look like? Are you in the same city? All that kind of stuff. The future you, the person who is who you want to be in the future, already living your perfect life. That's what I want you to dream of. That's what I want you to picture. And that's the perfect day that you need to visualize. So there are your two visualization processes. The first one being creating something physical. So I want you to write the tasks, the big dreams that you want to achieve, and I want you to write some affirmations to help you get there. And then the second form is this idea of the mental visualization. As I'd said, we are now at the action-orientated portion of the piece, and that's what I am big on. Yes, it's great to dream, it's great to know what your values are, so on and so forth. But if you take no action, then nothing will change. And that's what we're at now. We're going to really set some more stringent goals and timelines to the things that we can take action on today to achieve what we want to achieve. And the way we're going to do that is through planning and through using SMART goals. Specific, measurable, assignable, realistic, time-related goals. So you've already got a list of the signposts or the short-term goals that you need to achieve, which are the stepping stones to get to your ultimate dreams. Now we're going to be really specific in what they look like. So specific goal, make sure the goal is clear and on specific subject matter. Make sure you can say what it is you want to achieve clearly. Measurable, make sure it's something that you can achieve. Make sure it is a number or something tangible or an event or an action that you can say, yes, tick it off, boom, that's done. Assignable, make sure the goal that you want to achieve is aligned with the end result that you want. So we've already kind of covered that in the idea that these signposts are leading you on the way to your major goal, but make sure that is the case. Realistic. The goal needs to be something that you can achieve now with your current resources. So don't make it something way beyond your current scope with what you have. One of my future dreams, or perhaps something that will happen whilst I'm still running these webinar series, but one of my future dreams is to speak before a crowd of 10,000 people. Now, I don't have the resources to get that done this year. I don't have that many people aware of who I am. I don't have the foundation to be able to hire the venue to get it done and set the tickets up and so on. But what I can do is speak to 100 people or 200 people. That's within my resources, so I do that. And then by the time I do that, my resources will have expanded, and suddenly those 200 people tell 200 more people, and I can have 400 people there, and so on and so forth until you get to your 10,000. Now that's the idea of this, what's realistic with the resources that I have. And then of course, time related, specified time to achieve what you want to achieve. So when you say what it is that you want, put a deadline on it, put a timeline to it. Now I'd like you to come up with SMART goals for all of the goals in your areas. for all of the signposts in your areas, because these are not the dreams. These are not the unrealistic, outrageous, well beyond our comfort zone dreams that we've come up with. These are the signposts. These are the things that are short-term stepping stones to get to where we want to go. What are the next steps? And that's what I'm talking about when you need to come up with these SMART goals. All right, so now we've got that. I want you to have a look at this idea of setting your tasks that you're going to be achieving on the daily, more specific daily tasks. And I've given you a bit of an idea of maybe the table that I use in getting this done. But you can create your own, and many people do. So the idea is that I want you to write down each of the tasks you need to achieve this week to achieve the signpost, which when you achieve the signpost mean you're on your way to achieving your big goals. So you write down, I will. What is the daily task that you're going to achieve that day? I will run 6 kilometers this morning at 6:30 a.m. Bang, there you go. And then you go through the week and you tick off every day that you do it. And then when you get to the end of the week, you give yourself a score. Keep yourself accountable and keep yourself on track. I'm going to make more sales this week. Great. Therefore, I'm going to call 20 more sales calls. Great. Write that down. I will make 20 more sales calls at 11 a.m., 12 p.m., and 2 p.m. every day. And then you tick off. Boom. Monday I did it. Tuesday I didn't. Damn. Wednesday I did it. Tick. Thursday I did it. Tick. Get to the end of the week. I did it 3 out of 7 days. Did you do what you say you do? You can keep yourself accountable, check in, and keep on track. That's the idea there of that daily checklist. Keeping yourself accountable is a key as well. Daily actions are the main thing that are going to get you to achieve your outrageous goals. Because we break it, remember, we go backward in time. We go outrageous goals, and then we break it down into what we need to achieve when with the signposts, and then we turn those signposts into daily tasks. So getting those daily tasks is going to get us on our way. But there's two types of daily tasks. You've got your progress tasks, which are specific to the goal that you want to achieve. You know, once you've done the progress task, you can tick it off and it's done. That's another step closer to where you want to go. And then you've got these personal fulfillment tasks, things that fill your cup, things that keep you going and happy. And they're repetitive. They're things you need to do every day. One of mine is to go for an ocean swim. You know, one of mine is to have a nice espresso from my favorite coffee place. All these things that personal fulfillment tasks keep me up and about, walk my dog, get clear my head, meditate. They're the things that you repeat every single day. So I want you to make sure you can distinguish between those two and make sure your daily task list that you're ticking off has a combination of both. Not only does it have the progress task that you must complete to achieve your signposts, but you've also got a fair amount of these personal fulfillment tasks. All right, now we're going to construct our perfect day. So the perfect day. I'm going to be using a really basic example as I run through on your screens, but you'll get the gist of what I'm trying to follow here. What we want to do is map out how our perfect day would run. We've already done a visualization process of it, but now we're really going to put some time blocks in to work out how it would look. So here's an idea of my perfect day. I wake up in the morning, 4:40, and I do my morning routine. Similarly, you can see there at 9:30, I head to bed and do my bedtime routine. I've got my main times that I want to eat, which is 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. That's not the only time I eat, but they're the ones I need to set in. The others will kind of fit around the rest of my day. Plus, I'm doing the most basic version of this for you. Then we set in when I go to the gym, 2 hours from 5 and 2 hours from 1. So you can be doing the same thing. You can work out your morning routine. You can set aside what time you need to have family time for your dinner. You can set aside what time you need to go, go to the gym, or what time you need to be in the office and all that kind of thing. The next one, personal development. I spend an hour doing podcasts or reading my book. I spend an hour dog walking and meditating, and I spend an hour doing some gratitude and reflection. Business development. I spend an hour working on my business, not in it, on it. I spend 2 hours doing the menial administration task that needs to happen, and I spend 2 hours on personal tasks that you need to get done during the day, organizing the mower, getting the pool cleaned, all that kind of stuff. Then we move on to business task. Then you can see I've got 3 hours there worth of getting business things done for Words with Oz. So there's a basic outline of what my perfect day might look like, and something that you can use as a guide to set your own. Draw it up, draw up the hours, and then start highlighting aside time for what you're going to do when. The perfect day, let's get it up and running, let's get it nice and efficient. Because then once we've got the perfect day, we can integrate it into a perfect week. Now, as you can see from the perfect day, it doesn't really include any time for things that we need to get done, or appointments, or things that come up in life. So when we move on to the perfect week, that's where we start. So here you can see this is my perfect day on the left, and I've just created a column on the right that kind of matches. You can see it matches the same colors, and that'll make sense in a moment, because then I'm going to insert the colors here. So here's a perfect week with all the hours. We start off by putting in the things that can't be moved. I like to sleep in on the weekends. I like to have family time on Friday afternoons. I've got to get my hair done on Wednesdays, and I've got a car appointment on Thursdays. I've got, then I start the business stuff, coaching calls, webinars, coaching calls, where they fit when I go and see the accountant. And then I can put my perfect day in over the top. Hope that all makes sense. So when we got the perfect week, we set that up first, and we chuck in the things that we can't move. You might be selling a house, so there might be an open day. The kids might have sports, so you got to put that in. You've got to be there. And then once all those things are set, we can put the perfect day in over the top and just fold it out through the week and fit it in where it fits. Now, this is how I work for the 5 days, and then on the weekend, I fit in my own thing. So there might be 3 hours there just to make sure I do some self-admin. You can see on the Sunday, I've got 2 hours there where I get some finance done, and 2 hours where I go grocery shopping. Just a really simple way for us to block out the different times of the week to get the things done that we need to get done. I hope that makes sense for you as far as planning your perfect day and perfect week. And I just highlight again that there's no such thing as perfection. This is an idea. We've discussed what it is we want to achieve, who we want to be, and what that person does. And then we've broken it down into the signposts and the progress tasks and the daily fulfillment tasks. So there it is in a picture perfect world. But there is no such thing as perfection. So don't forget that if things go astray, that's fine. You've got room to improve and to be adaptable. And adaptability is the key. Your perfect days and perfect weeks will be constantly refined and revolved as well. What I've shown you just then is not my daily routine at the moment, but it was the daily routine that I set up when I wrote this webinar. It's the pursuit to create the ideal you. Now, if you're living your authentic, perfect day every single day, you will be more likely to achieve those things that you want to achieve in your outrageous goals. And so that's where we're really trying to get you to be, being ambitious and being fulfilled. Just touching base again on the additional resources that I sent through at the end of last week. You've got your weekly review, you've got your daily checklist, gratitude, and then the daily intention. So with the weekly review, make sure you're using it. Even if you're not sending it to me, make sure you're using it for yourself. The end of the week, this week I nailed. This week I really did well at, and then go through what it is you went well at. What were you challenged by? What were you fearful of? What did you run into the resistance with? The reason I get you to do this from the get-go is that fear and resistances are a part of all of our lives. But the more aware of them you are, the better you are to handle them. So it's best to start with them now, and then in the future weeks when we touch on courage and we touch on self-sabotage and all that kind of thing, you're well ahead or well aware of what it is that keeps you from achieving. When the fear happened or when the resistance happened, how did you react? What did you do to achieve it? How did you get through it? And what did you learn? And then next time you're faced with it, what are you going to do? So how can you improve your time? And whilst we're there, whilst we're talking about that, think about that from a perspective of the visualization as well. So let's say this week you had a bad day at work. I want you to think right here, what happened to create the bad day and how you reacted to it and what you learned. And then I want you to write down what you would do differently. And once you've written down what you would do differently, visualize yourself doing it differently. Visualize yourself attacking that exact same problem with the new vigor of yourself. And then finally on the week in review, how can I help you? How can Oz help you? Right down there. And then of course you can add that to the email and flick it on to me. Daily checklist. We've reiterated that on that today in the webinar. The daily checklist is both progress tasks and fulfillment tasks. Progress tasks in what you want to achieve with your signposts on the way to achieving those outrageous goals. And then the daily personal fulfillment tasks. What things do you need to get done to be the person you want to be? Meditation, meeting your family, eating 6 meals a day, hitting the gym twice a day. What is it? What is it? What is it to personally fulfill your life? And you write them down in a form of I will, and you give yourself a time. Then you tick it off every day, and you give yourself a score. Self accountability, all there in one checklist. Gratitude is pretty straightforward. I spoke about that in the last webinar. I'm not going to repeat that here and now. And then finally, the daily intention. And I want to spend some time on that daily intention now. Your daily intention is not a to-do list. It is an intention for who you are going to be in the different areas of your life for that day. So you've got the vocation, relationships, fitness, and refueling. And your intention is who you're going to be. So you may set aside to say that you want to get a raise, but your daily intention would be to approach work with the confidence of someone who deserves a raise. So who do you want to be? Your your to-do list might say that you're going to go to the gym at 6:30 a.m. Your daily intention is to be the healthy and fit person that gets up with a renewed energy before the sunrise to be able to go to the gym. What's your intention for that day? So it's not what you want to do, it's who you are going to be. If you need more clarity on that, make sure you flick me an email, but I'm sure those examples make sense. So in each 4 areas of your life, set an intention for the day, not a to-do list, an intention. What do these stem from the core of your values. So these don't stem from your goals and your dreams and your signposts. These stem from the core of your values. This is the type of thing. A daily intention is something you can do every day, not necessarily something that you may or may not be able to do in a to-do list. Daily intention is who you want to be. So what I do, Words with Oz, the 8-week life hack. We look at who you want to be, we look at what you want, and we look at how you're going to get it. And we migrate through that process. We started off with core values, who you want to be. Then we moved into a hybrid of who and what in coming up with those outrageous goals in the direction you're going to go in. And we worked out what you want by short-term goals, signposts, and that's where we are now. We are planning what you want, and we're starting to move into the how you're going to get it, to the performance piece. But we have planned your perfect day, the things that you are going to do every single day that is going to help you achieve who you want to be and what that person wants. So today we've covered physical and mental visualization. You should have in front of you written notes of what your goal is and what the affirmation or result or action is for you to achieve that goal. We've covered smart signpost planning. You've looked at the signposts, the short-term goals that are step-by-step processes to help you get to where you want to go. And now we've assigned a SMART goal to each of those signposts, something that is specific, measurable, assignable, realistic, and time related. And then, of course, we've worked on the perfect day and perfect week. Make sure you replay any of those portions that haven't made sense or haven't stuck. I'm sure they've been named or at least shown pretty clearly. And if you follow them, you will achieve what you need to achieve. Even if you were just to set up the perfect day and the perfect morning routine, get yourself into the right frame of mind by starting your day right with a great morning routine, and then migrate it through the day for a perfect day and a perfect week. And you should have all of those things in front of you now. This week, you've taken action. You've created and written tangible visual aids to help you pursue what you want to pursue. You've provoked thoughts. You've had thoughts on what your mental visualizations are going to be. Understood and developed the SMART goals. Distinguish between progress tasks and personal fulfillment tasks. Remember, personal fulfillment, every single day they're repeated. You do them all the time. Progress tasks, once they're done, tick. Cross them off. You're on your way. And you should have planned your perfect day and perfect week. Now, like I said, I'm all about the dreams and the goals and who you want to be and making sure you know your core values and all that kind of stuff. But we're getting to the point now, 3 weeks with one another, where you've really got to start taking action so that by the end of the time, you are who you need to be to achieve the things you want to achieve. You need to be taking the action. That's what this week's all about. And that's definitely what the next 4 weeks are all about. And this is one of my favorite quotes, because you are going to come up with times where you feel like you shouldn't have a go, or you're being criticized, or you're being judged. And you need to remember this from our man, Theodore Roosevelt. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong stumble, or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, and so on and so forth. I'm sure you can read the quote, but the credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, the man taking action. So I highly encourage that you be the person taking action in pursuit of your biggest dreams, creating the you that never gives up, and living your most ambitious and fulfilled life. Thanks for your time this week. There's my email. If you've got questions, let me know. Otherwise, we'll chat again in a week's time.